Hello, my name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems for GMAT out of this book here, the GMAT Review, the official guide. If you do not have this book, buy it immediately. You'll find it at mba.com. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 171, problem solving number 140. Let's take a look at it. It says in a weightlifting competition, the total weight of Joe's two lifts were 750 pounds. So he lifted it twice and the total was 750 pounds. Then we are told that twice the weight of his first lift was 300 pounds more than the weight of his second lift. The question simply is, what was the weight of his first lift? It's an algebraic problem. You can do it with the algebra if that's what you wish. If you're very good at algebra, if you know how to set up the equation, algebraic equation, and you can do all of that within a couple of minutes, great. Kudos for you. For those of you who are not very good at algebra, those of you who are not very conversant in algebra, and those of you who are very prone to making mistakes when trying to solve the problem with the algebra, and there are some people actually who probably wouldn't even know how to set it up algebraically to start out with. They wouldn't know how to even set up the equation. For those of you, I'm going to do this problem in two ways. So I'm going to do the classical way, the traditional way, the orthodox way, the algebraic way, the proper way, the academic way, which is one way, and I'm going to do it in a non-academic way. The non-academic way is simply logical thinking. Simple logical thinking is what is required here. The question is, what was the weight? What was the weight in pounds of the first lift? In other words, they're asking you how heavy was the first lift. That part of the question where they actually ask the question is what I refer to as our punchline. The answer to the punchline has to be one of these five numbers. The answers are numerical. What was the weight of the first lift? They are numerical answers. And whenever the answer choice is numerical, well, I shouldn't perhaps say whenever, but almost always when the answer choices are numerical, they are arranged in order from the lowest number to highest number, either in the ascending order or descending order. The key there is to realize that the correct answer, whatever it is, has to be one of these five numbers. Why should I waste my time trying to solve it properly and then find out what the answer is? Why don't I take one of the answer choices, put it back in the problem and see if it fits. If it fits, I'm done. That's it. If it doesn't fit, most of the time, almost 90% of the time, you should be able to tell whether that number is too small or too big. It's like solving a jigsaw puzzle. If the piece does not fit, you should be able to tell most of the time whether that piece is too small or too large. Let's see what happens here. So the question is, where do I start from? There are five answer choices. Where do I start from? Do I start from the first one, A? Do I start from E? The answer is no. The logical thinking tells me that it is wise to always start with a happy compromise. The happy compromise is answer choice C. I'm going to start with C. If C fits, if it works out, great. Answer is C. I'm done. If it doesn't fit, it will tell me which way to go, whether the number that I need has to be larger or smaller. It will tell me, the C will tell me which way to go. Let's see what happens. It says the weight of the two lifts was 750 pounds. So here we go. The total is 750 pounds. I don't know if you can see this color. Let me change it. £750. In the weightlifting competition, the total weight of the two lifts was 750. If twice the weight of the first lift was 300 pounds more than the weight of the second lift, what was the weight in pounds of the first lift? So I'm going to pretend that the first lift is 325. Why do I use the word pretend? Because I really don't know what the answer is. I'm just pretending this 325. Because why 325? Why not 350? Why not 375? Why not 675? Why not 900? Because C tells me 325. Answer choice C is 325. I'm going to start with that. So then if that's the case, the weight of the second lift has to be 5. 4 minus 2 is 2. And the weight of the second lift is 425. Now the question simply is, if I were to take twice the weight of the first lift, which is 650, is 650 300 more than 425? That's the question here. Is 650 300 pounds, well, I'm not going to actually write it down, you read the problem yourself. According to the question, twice the weight of the first lift has to be 300 pounds more than the second lift. Is 650 300 pounds more than 425? Of course it's not. This number needs to be bigger. This number needs to be bigger in order for this number to be 300 more than that number. The question is, how can I get this number to be bigger? I can get this number to be bigger if I increase this number, which is 325. And how can I get, in other words, I need heavier first lift. I need first lift to be heavier, which tells me that the answer choice C is too small. It also tells me at the same time that B is too small and A is too small. Right away I've raised my R to 50-50. I'm going to try one of the bigger numbers. I'm going to try 350, see what happens. I'm going to try 350. Let me change the color. So here is 750 is the total. I'm going to pretend that the first lift is 350. If that were the case, the second lift would have to be 400. And then now twice 350 times 2 is 700. Is 700 300 more than 4? Is 700 300 more than 400? The answer is yes. According to the problem, twice the weight of the second lift has to be 300 more than the weight of the second lift. Right there, it fits. It works. The answer is D. That's all. Answer is D. There you go. Now I'm going to solve the same problem in the classical way, in the proper way, the traditional way, the classical way, the algebraic way. Let me first take a look at the camera, see how much time actually I have for that. I am more than 7 minutes into the clip, so I'm going to have to do it in less than 3 minutes. And of course in a real exam you only have 2 minutes to do the problem, but because I explain everything, it takes time. Let's do it classical way. So I know now that the first lift plus the second lift has to be 750. I also know that if I were to take 2 times the first lift, that amount is 300 more than the second lift. So if I were to take 300 from it, twice the first lift minus the 300 has to be second lift. S stands for second, F is the first. As you can see from here, twice, which is this part here, second lift, right here, 2F. If I were to take 2 times that amount and subtract from it 300, it should equal the second lift, which is what this equation tells me. That is the toughest part. If you can come up with these 2 equations, the rest is downhill. You simply have 2 simultaneous equations and you solve for it. That's all it is. It sounds very simple for those of you who know how to do it. So that's what I'm going to do here. So 2F minus 300 equals S, which from the first equation tells me that S has to be 750 minus the first lift. S is the second lift. Therefore second lift has to be 750 minus the first lift. This is first. This is second. I shouldn't be doing this thing, I'm running out of time here. So let's solve for F, and that's all it is. Once you solve for F, you're done. If I bring the F to this side, I get 3 F's, and I have 750 here, and if I bring 300 to that side, I get plus 300. So 3 F's equals 1050, and therefore F would equal 1050 divided by 3, 10 divided by 3 is 3, and 1 left over, 15 goes into 5, there you go. Voila. So here you have the contrast between the non-classical way and the classical way. You take my recommendation, you believe me, you trust me that if you're not very good at algebra, if you're apprehensive, if you have trouble setting up the equation to start out with, if you're going to take inordinate amount of time just coming up with these 2 equations, don't do the algebra. Just save your time. Logical thinking is what is required here, and be done with it. Just give me 1 more second again.